So lately I've been thinking about goal setting and the different types of goals that you can set, as well as the purpose of those goals. The main type of goal that everybody probably thinks about when you think of goal setting is a destination goal. A destination goal is basically just what you want to achieve. So for example, right now my destination goal is running under 2:19 for a marathon. I really think the only purpose of a destination goal should be to provide you with motivation to put in all of your training the right way and to do all the little things right. A lot of people think about training at paces that reflect your goal race pace, and I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make. Even if your goal is just a little bit too ambitious, that might mean that you're going to be training a little too hard and you might not show up as the best version of you on race day. So I believe that your training paces should reflect your current fitness, and as I said, that destination goal should just serve as motivation for you to put in your training every day in the right way. The next types of goals are training goals, and these are the ones that most directly affect your progress towards your destination goal. Training goals can be very informal or formal, and they can also be and they can also be very short-term or long-term. So if you're writing down a seasonal training plan and you have a mileage progression planned out for 10, 12 weeks, 14 weeks, however long, that is a training goal. If you say, I want to average 70 miles per week for 6 weeks, that's a training goal. Whether you think you do or not, you probably do some sort of informal goal setting before every single training session. You might say that you just want to run comfortably on this easy run. Then that's your goal. It might also be a little more formal, like I want to try to average 5:30 per mile on this lactate threshold run, or I want to average 3 flat for these 1K repeats. For most people, these training goals are the most important types of goals. They help keep you accountable towards your destination goal, and they help you track your progress towards your destination goal as well. In some cases though, these training goals can be detrimental. For example, I like to think of myself as a very ambitious runner, and that can be a dangerous combination with being self-coached. A lot of what you can view on my YouTube channel shows my perfect training, where it's a nice combination of hard training and smart training, but really I'm just as guilty as anybody with training too hard at times. Many of my training goals with mileage end up being a little bit more than I can handle, and that leads to some inconsistent training. So the way that I see it, with me having a destination goal of under 2:19 in the marathon, and me being a relatively not so talented runner compared to all the elites that do run under 2:19, I think there's no way around it, and I have to have a pretty high volume training schedule. So now I'm thinking about what can I do to help me achieve those training goals and to train at that high level. So that brings me to the next type of goals, which I will call non-performance goals. The purpose of these non-performance goals is to improve performance by making it easier to achieve your training goals. So these non-performance goals are the little things that you do in your everyday life, mainly nutrition, hydration, and sleep. So it's important to recognize what your weaknesses are and what you need to do to improve them. I've got 4 non-performance goals for myself, which should help me achieve my training goals, which should also help me get closer to my destination goal. I would say that one of my weaknesses is hydration. Once I get into the school year, I just can't seem to remember to drink enough water, so that's something I want to improve upon. Now, it's very important to make most of your goals measurable, so if I just say my goal is to do a better job with hydration, well, I could probably do a better job in wording that. So my first non-performance goal is to drink 3 32-ounce bottles of water throughout the day. Preferably, I also spread that out through the day, so I do 1 in the morning, 1 in the early afternoon, and 1 in the evening. Obviously, it's important to mix up your fluids a little bit and drink more than just water, but I've always been good about replenishing electrolytes once per day after a run, so I don't have that as a goal. This is also just a minimum amount of water that I need to drink, so as I up my mileage or as I run more, or if it's really hot, then of course I can always drink more. So it's 9:45 a.m. and I just finished up my first bottle of water, so I'm on track. And I've got 2 more of these to drink throughout the day. I'll share my other non-performance goals with you as I come to them throughout the day. So my next non-performance goal is really still a training goal, but it's not your typical run this many miles in a week or hit this pace for a workout. it's to do a session of planks every single day. I'm quantifying a session of planks as doing at least 4 minutes of different variations of planking every day. I'm usually pretty good about planking twice a week during a training cycle, but I really want to see if doing it every day has an effect on me. So my third goal here is a non-performance goal, but it's not really intended to even improve performance. This is just something that I've always wanted to improve upon. Even with as much as I love distance running, I think it's really important to have balance in my life. This is the first time in 20 years or so that I haven't been a student, so that's always been a good thing to occupy some time and keep my mind off running a little bit. So now that I'm not a student, I want to use some of that time to practice and play guitar more. I've never had a teacher for learning guitar, so everything I know is all just a combination of what I've read or watched online. So the actual goal here is to practice or play guitar for at least 15 minutes every day, and that's assuming I'm not on the road traveling or anything. And here's my fourth and most important non-performance goal: to be in bed and off my phone before 10 p.m. 6 out of 7 nights of the week. That one's probably going to be the most challenging because sometimes that's a little bit out of my control. For example, I might have to stay up traveling to or from a meet, or when we start hosting a lot of meets, I have to stay up late on some of those nights. The objective is to make an honest attempt with it no matter what, and if I'm not doing anything super important, then cut it off before 10 p.m. and get in bed. It's probably more common for people to phrase a goal like this as get at least 8 hours of sleep every night, but I like this one better because it guarantees me 8 hours of sleep almost every night. I think it's more important to have a consistent time that you go to bed rather than just waking up 8 hours after you go to sleep. So now I'm going to show you the real trick for me for holding myself accountable to these goals that I've set for myself. So here's a sheet that I made that outlines each goal and allows me to keep track of the goals that I accomplish each day. When I have a chart like that in front of me, I just hate seeing empty spaces, so it's as simple as that. That helps me achieve those little goals. So I challenge you all to recognize some of your weaknesses and try to address them by coming up with 2 to 4 non-performance goals to help performance. I've got a link down in the description to download that chart in case you want to edit it and make your own. But it's time for me to go to bed soon, so I'm going to wrap up this video. So catch you next time.